we're going to take your A minor pentatonic scale, position number 1, which should sound like this, starting at fret 5. Then we're going to look at the notes that make up the scale, like the root note, the flattened 3rd, 4th, 5th, flattened 7th. We're going to explain what happened to the 2nd and the 6th. And then we're going to take it and tie it in with a chord, for example, the A minor 7th chord. We're going to explain why the chords are built as loosely. And then we're going to take the 2nd position of the A minor pentatonic, and especially the last 3 strings, in other words, from 7, 9, 8, 10, 8, 10, and we're going to join that onto the position 1. So you can do something like this. Which is quite nice for little double stops. But first things first, let's look at the pentatonic scale. I'm assuming you do know the scale. Going again from fret 5, 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 8, 5, 8. I'm sure you know the scale. If you don't, pause the video, learn it. Okay. Then get familiar with position number 2, also in the key of A minor, but starting at fret 8. So it's 8, 10, 7, 10, 7, 10, 7, 9, 8, 10, 8, 10. And again, those last 3 strings is what we're going to join through onto your position number 1. Now, first of all, on the note positions, if I'm playing a chord like in blues, a typical A7th, okay, that consists of the 1st, major 3rd, 5th, and flattened 7th notes of the A major scale, not the A minor scale. Now, there are different ways to approach it. So for the purists to say that must be into F sharp minor, other purists will say it must be in A minor, not F sharp minor. End of the day, they both will work, promise. Okay, we're looking at playing the minor field against the major chord. Now, the dominant 7th, which is your typical blues sound, basically is a flattened 7th, which is part of the pentatonic. Remember at the beginning we went 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, and that flat 7 is part of my A7th chord. Okay, we got that. Now the major thirds over here, there is no major third in the scale. It's got a minor scale, minor third, sorry. And the minor third is basically the major third that's lowered. So this note, which is C sharp, that C sharp becomes C. So you've flattened C, C sharp becomes C, and that C sharp down to C means you've lowered the third. It's a minor third, C, C. That's why we call it a minor third. Which means also if you're playing a blues out of A minor, also works quite nicely. So blues is a funny thing. You can dominant 7th it, which is a major 7th with a, major 3rd with a flattened 7th. Or you can minor 7th it. Slightly different sound, you can hear the difference there. That's the major 3rd becoming a minor 3rd. But they both work well with the minor pentatonic scale starting in A. Now, on the other positions, the 4th isn't actually part of the chord. The chord is built out of intervals of 3s, or thirds rather, of which your minor goes 1, flat 3, 5, and then it skips the 7th unless you want to play the minor 7th, otherwise it would include that, and then to the octave. And there you can see 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7, because the major 7th is there, and your octave. And obviously you can go into the 2nd octave. I don't really want to go into that right now. Okay, that's not really that important yet, although it is definitely going to help you with theory later. So yes, what I'm skipping over here is important and I would like you to know it, but right now the prime goal of this is to get to improvise on your scale, know how you can join it together for some nice slides. And some little double stops, so nice little blues sort of phrases. That's the prime goal of this over here, but it's also nice to know what notes make up the chord. So if I'm playing an A7th, I've got the first, fifth, dominant seventh octave, and then I've got my other fifth sitting over here and another octave there. So I can do an A7, and that's my E. So that's how it worked. And that was using now the second position. Or I can go and I can slide up to it. That was using position 1. So, or different ways to get to the same target note. Now, I didn't have to target the fifth note. I could have targeted the root note, the dominant seventh. I could have intentionally put the major blues inside there. That sounds very cool. But that means we have to now study the major blues scale, the minor blues scale. I don't want to get there. That's not the purpose of this. And I got this basically from a diagram one of my students, one of my friends sent me, which started like this. That's what it looks like in the diagram. Now obviously there's duplicate notes there, because that note there is that note, and this note is there, the duplicates. And that's quite cool to know, because you've got a common ground. That is part of this, and this. That on the diagram is common to this one, and this one. So let's just sort of cross over between the two scales quite nicely. So little favorite things that I like doing on blues now, just on the technique side. I like string bending this note, that note, and that note. So this is nice to bend. And what sounds quite sweet is once I pick that note, I put my pinky down there and I bring in my first, second, and third note and then bend it down. So if I zoom out so you can see what I'm picking, now we can see both ends a bit better. For example, or you can do a bit of a double stop, and that's quite cool because you can bring your pick and your fingers into play like this. Gives you a very, very nice blues flavor to it. Other favorite combinations, I'm going to zoom a bit closer again. Maybe fret 8, pinky at the bottom. Nice double stop, because I'm doing the first double stop there. Pulling onto fret 5, onto fret number 7, and pulling back onto fret 5 again over there as we're working our way down the strings. Then a nice slide. And from there I can go get a nice little double inside there. And again I just want to bring the picking hand in so you can see the riffs. And everything I'm doing over here is sort of ad-lib. I'm just basically sort of haven't prepared anything. I'm just busy chatting as I'm going along, just sharing as I think of it. Because otherwise, if I prepare something, it'd be a very, very long video, I guess. But just some ideas to get you rolling. And again, you can see that sort of hybrid picking, where I'm picking with my pick and bringing the middle finger to pick the other note. And the second little note over here, when I went down, that note there, that I'm borrowing from the natural minor, it shouldn't really be there. It's the F note. That's my sixth. That's actually not part of the pentatonic, but it is in the key of A minor. So I can bring that in as a passing note. And this over here takes me back to a nice A minor, which is quite cool. So I can go. And then put a dominant seventh with a minor seventh, because it gives a different sound, but in different contexts you can combine them. Obviously I wouldn't do that combination in one song because that would just be catastrophic. But if you play it either the whole way in A minors or in dominant sevenths, they're both going to work for you quite nice. Other nice little slides is personal favorite. One finger. And that sounds quite nice like this as well. Nice little double slide there. Another favorite one is to take this little F sharp and you do. And that creates a nice little outside there. Also sounds quite nice. Or you can do it to the F. Also sounds quite cool. So depending on the feel you're going for, depending on what your chords are, very important, depending what your chords are, these phrases will work. And obviously we don't want to get too much in depth and sort of talk on for ages, but just different little phrases to do. Nice double stop from the first and second string. Nice little knock-out where you turn from here, turn it around, and flatten it. Simple as that. And you can double it from here. Also little things that work quite nice. Chords like C, for example. We don't think of C normally like this. We normally think of C over here. But if I take those notes and then put this note there and bend to it, I get a C. Nice way to get a C. Into my A minor. So instead of going C to A minor, I can do this. C. C to A minor like that, for example. Just different ways to do it. So we're not necessarily going to go into the speed. We're not about that for this video. We're more about just sort of getting to realize that you can join positions together. That's the main thing that started this video. So to refresh where we're going, we want to know that instead of staying in one block position, we're introducing some slides to get into the next position, which we could then take into the next position, the third, into the fourth position, and into the fifth position, and okay, back to the first position, an octave higher. So we could now spend endless time taking through the full 5 positions. That's not the purpose of this video. What I want you to get out of it is that we're starting to move across from position 1 to position 2. That's the first lesson. The second is to know the root note, what a flattened third is versus a major third. Flattened third, major third. And that's going to make the difference between a dominant 7th chord, A 7th and A minor 7th. It's that note that's passing that we want to learn from it. We want to learn the 5th is common to both chords, and this, the minor 7th there with respect to the A. The minor 7th will work for the dominant 7th and the minor 7th chord, because a flattened 7th note, not chord, a flattened 7th note is also referred to as a minor 7th note. Enough talking on that. Okay, it's just a very quick exercise. I think my friend asked me about this one some time ago. It's just a lucky one to play. We're simply going up 3 notes at a time. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But every time I come back a note, so it's 1, 2, 3, back a note. 1, 2, 3, back a note. 1, 2, 3, back a note. And so on, and obviously reverse it. And obviously we can bring in minor blues notes, which is that note and that note, and we could also talk at length about the major third. We can talk about that, but that's not the goal for this video. Okay, I know I'm repeating myself a lot, but hopefully you're getting some riffs out of this to play with, and you got your basic blues sorted out from the A7th chord. Now when you go from the A7th to the D7, down that note there is the F sharp we played through earlier. Nice for the D7th chord, which is your second chord in the A7 12-bar blues. So you can do your A7, and that note there's the A, part of the D7th chord. There's my F sharp, part of the D7th chord. It works together. So we'll later put a video together explaining your target notes for your E7, target notes for the D7, back to your A. And there you have it. So I hope this helped a little bit, gave you a sort of very slight introduction into what we can do from your minor pentatonic scale, with a little bit of a layout with chord theory, and hopefully some cool licks that you can try as well. Hope it helped. Have a good day. Cheers.